Good morning. That's gingerbread coffee at Starbucks. I don't normally like Starbucks coffee, but this one's kind of good. And I realized I'm a little bit crooked here. Let me fix that. I'm doing so well this morning. I don't know if that's any better. I think I just overcorrected. Okay, I'm not even going to edit that out. Anyway, good morning. My name is Melinda. Welcome to A Web of Stories. This is my weekly wrap up, and some little disclaimers here. One is I normally do these on Fridays, but I'm doing this one on Thursday because I'm hoping tomorrow, Friday, I'll be able to go see my friend who's in the hospital. It depends on a lot of things if that's going to work out. One of which is other people want to go see her, and I don't want to have too many people visiting her at once, so I'm going to touch base with her tomorrow and see how things are. But I'm hoping to be able to go see her tomorrow in the hospital. And the hospital is like on the other side of the metro area, so it's going to be like a big chunk of the day. Also, my kids are home from school today, Thursday and Friday, but my son and my husband are at the doctor's office right now because he's there for just child checkup. And so my daughter is up doing whatever. I think she's chatting with friends upstairs. Doesn't matter. It's not noisy in the house at the moment. I can't say that it is interruption free because I am sort of patch filming, and I was doing my 5 on Friday that I had to do 4 times because my husband kept calling me in the middle of it with stupid questions that he should know the answer to. And I'm sorry if he watches these videos, but he should know the answer to them. So anyway, I can't guarantee I won't have to cut away for something like that. But anyway, happy Saturday, even though it's Thursday. Let's see what's going on in my life. Last Saturday, I went to see Hair with my friend because I was taking my other friend, the one who's in the hospital, her ticket to go see it with another friend. That was very good. The Friday, I saw Antigone, which the high school did, and they did a fantastic job. But for the love of God, your baby does not want to see live theater. It just really, I'm really tolerant of babies. I really am. They cry in planes, church, movie theaters, not a problem. I don't even hear them because I had kids. I know what it's like. But live theater is the one where I'm like, no, this is not okay. Anyway, someone brought a baby, and the baby wasn't even really crying. They were just making noise, and saying shh to your baby is not going to calm them down. It was disruptive as the audience, which is unfortunate, but it was really disruptive to the performers on the stage. And Antigone is a hard play for high schoolers. And so anyway, public service announcement there. Please don't take your baby to live theater. This coming Sunday, my daughter and I and my friend, the one who's not in the hospital, we're going to go see Les Mis. I was going to go. My daughter is taking the place of my friend who is in the hospital, but I love Les Miserables. It is my favorite musical. I know, sacrilegious. I like it more than Hamilton, although just and I always think that the reason Les Mis gets the upper over Hamilton is without Les Mis, there would be no Hamilton. But my daughter's never seen it, so I'm so excited. The one bummer is that our seats aren't actually together. But I think that we're going to be sitting with 3 people between us, so it's not going to be a big deal. But yeah, so I'm very excited to see it. It'll be, I think, my 7th time seeing it live. So excited. Yeah, so that's what's going on my week. The kids are home from school today because it's the end of the quarter and it's a grading day, and tomorrow in observance of Veterans Day. So we have a nice long weekend. Yeah, so let's talk about last week's reading. As I said, I'm doing this on Thursday. I don't know if things are going to change between now and tomorrow when I normally would have filmed this, but if it did, I'm just going to put it into next week's. It's okay. Did I finish anything next week? Absolutely not. I did not finish anything, although I have been reading. Oh my goodness. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Last night I was trying to be organized, and I was hauling and doing stuff with books, and I was apparently too organized because I need something. So no, I didn't finish anything last week, but I have a lot of in-progress stuff. Part of the issue is I have too many books going on time, so it takes a little longer to finish any one of them, but that's the story of my life. However, now, I'm going to do something I've never done before, is I'm going to timestamp this video because I am going to get really kind of vulnerable with you guys here, and I'm going to let you be my therapist. Probably the best way to do it. And if you don't want to do that. There's a timestamp below where you can go to my current reads, okay? But if you are willing to listen to me dump, or if you're just like, got that train wreck curiosity, here we go. I did have a DNF this week, and it is Between Summer's Longing and Winter's End. And this was a buddy read that Jennifer Loves Books and I were doing, and we both started it. And I got the message from her. She's saying, I read like the 50 pages. I hate this. It's misogynistic. It's confusing. And I had been reading it for 3 hours and I was on page 58. And I agreed with absolutely everything she said about it. So we ended up deciding to dump this book, found another book we're going to do. But my feeling when we dumped this, when she said she was DNFing, my feeling was, oh, thank you, because now I can DNF. And I'm someone who's a big proponent of DNFing for other people. Like, life's too short to read books you don't like. If you're not liking that book, it's not for you, move on. I can say that till I'm blue in the face. But do I actually do it myself? Very, very, very rarely. In fact, hold on one more second. Sorry, I had to look up a stat. So far this year, this is the 5th book that I have DNF'd. Of those 5 books, 2 of them were DNF'd. One because it was Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, only because I started it and realized I wasn't in the mood for a thriller. I will go back to it. And the other one was The End of Drum Time, which I DNF'd because I had a print copy and the font was too small and it was really hard for me to read. I have every intention of going back and reading that digitally. So I don't count those. So really, I've only DNF'd 3 books this year, which is crazy when you think about, there have been a fair number of books I wish I had DNF'd. And I had this realization, and I have this issue, and DNFing is one facet of it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the monkey brain. So that monkey brain is that part of your consciousness where you absorb things as a young child and they're just sort of there and you can't get over them and you don't even know they're there. I have a lot of things going on in my monkey brain that affect my reading that I don't like. To me, even though I can tell everyone, DNF that book, not working for you, just put it aside. There's no reason to read it. My monkey brain, when it comes to me, is telling me, you started something, you need to finish it. Don't be a quitter. And yes, I'm not going to get into blaming relatives, but yeah, that's what I was told as a child. That's where all this comes from. So it's very hard for me to DNF. Really hard. Like, I feel guilty. Like, ooh, maybe I should have read it. I don't know. So I am so glad. Because if Jennifer had said, as much as I hated this book, if she had said, I'm kind of liking this, I would have read it to the bitter end. Now, would she be upset if I said, look, I'm really hating this book, I need to DNF it? No, she'd be perfectly fine with that. This is not about her, it's about me. I would go because I can't. So when she said she was DNFing it, I was like, thank you. You gave me permission to DNF. Another issue. So there's really 2 big issues that kind of collided at once that made me realize there's a really big problem with this. The other one is Remember December. I just filmed my Remember December video, but you'll see it next Thursday because booktube is weird that way. I always say I want to reread something. I always think I'm going to read this again, and I put it aside. Part of the thing with my books is they're books I'm going to read again, right? The books that I keep. Do I do them? I've been rereading if someone tells me I need to. So the book that one of the books I'm rereading, I'll talk about in the video, is The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson. I'm rereading it because another book club is doing it. I really liked this book. When I finished it last time, I said, I'll probably reread this sometime. I'm putting it on my shelf. Did I reread it? Not until someone said I had to do it. And it's like, because my monkey brain is saying, why are you wasting time reading things you've already read? That's a waste of time. Is it? Of course it's not. Because you're a different person every time you read a book. Even if you pick up a book, finish it, and then start over, you're still a different person because you have read that book once and it's already part of your psyche. So no, it's not a waste of time. Another thing that there are genres that I have talked about that I have trouble with. One is fantasy. Because my monkey brain is saying, that's silly, that's make-believe, that's complete, read something realistic. That's what my monkey brain is saying. What's really crazy about this is my favorite movie / musical / story from before I can remember to now is The Wizard of Oz. When I got married, walk down the aisle to Over the Rainbow. I mean, that's how big a part of my life it is. And yes, there are people who will go into how this is really an allegory about the gold standard. That's not what I'm talking about. But this book, The Wizard of Oz, is a fantasy. So this is this book that had this huge impact on me, but still my monkey brain is saying, oh, that's a waste of time. Don't read that. Read something realistic. And, you know, I did not realize for a long time that even my monkey brain was saying this. It wasn't until I had to deal with rereading and DNFing, basically those two things came to a head at the same time, that wait a minute, there's something going on here. I want to say not all hope is lost, because there was another dialogue my monkey brain was talking about that I do feel that I've overcome. And this is actually, I'm very glad that I have overcome this, because I think this one is really important. Is until I was an adult, my reading was very white. Part of that was because in school, I mean, when I was in high school, to read about the African-American experience, we read, well, I didn't, but we read Huck Finn by a white guy. So, you know, but it was, I mean, I did English literature. It's all white. But even in my own reading, everything was white, because my monkey brain was saying those books are for them and these books are for you. Yes. And yes, that was told to me as a child, that these are not your books. Now, I made the decision. It's very important to read diversely, incredibly important to read diversely. And I do that. But that is something that I have conquered, that this monkey brain was telling me. Now, 99% of conquering that was because I recognized the importance of reading diversely. I recognized the importance of having empathy, of knowing the experiences of other people, of understanding other people. There's 1% of me, though, of getting over that monkey brain narrative. That 1% of me is just pure rebellion. Of course I'm going to read it. Don't tell me not to read it. I'm going to read it. So my monkey brain's still apparently a teenager too. So, yeah. And what I'm kind of getting to with this is that, so I started this booktube channel 13 months ago. And I've been doing book stuff for a long time, but I think that this has really come to a head with booktube. So I'm laying my kudos here at the feet of booktube. But 13 months ago, why did you join booktube? Oh, for the community, to talk about books. 12 months ago, I would have said the same thing. 6 months ago, I would have said the same thing. A month ago, I would have said the same thing. A week ago, I would have said the same thing. But now there's another added facet to that. And that is because having booktube and having these read-alongs and, you know, people talking about these different challenges and all these things that go on booktube, and then having people to talk about it, this is helping me overcome my monkey brain in these areas. When you like rereading, remember December. I mean, yes, I will reread if someone tells me I have to. And yes, I understand that Remember December is telling me I have to do it. I don't have to do Remember December, but I'm choosing to do it. But it's the idea behind Remember December is very much, to me, this is what I'm hearing from Remember December. It's okay to do this. It is okay to do this. You are okay. You aren't breaking any rules. Your monkey brain is lying to you. So I want to thank all the creators of Remember December for coming up with that. It is something I still fight with. In my monkey brain, I totally know will rear its ugly head again for other things in the future. One thing I was thinking about recently is that when my kids were little and we were to the point where I was starting to read picture books to them. And then again, when I was starting to read chapter books to them, I was so excited because I could revisit these books. Now, obviously, there's absolutely no reason why I needed my kids to revisit these books. I was happy to read them to them. It was a wonderful experience. Did I need my kids to do that? No, it's just my monkey brain was telling me, you're an adult. You don't read these books because you're an adult. You're past this. Don't be childish, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but it's still there. So I guess I'm putting this out there as a big thank you to booktube for helping me discover this, giving me tools and opportunities to fight it, but also asking grace if it starts to come up again. And I mean, there is a difference. I will say there is a difference. For example, I don't read YA very much right now. That, for example, is not monkey brain. That is my kids are getting into the YA period of life and I need a break from that. So that I recognize is not monkey brain, but the monkey brain is going to rear its head again. And so for those of you brave enough to watch this little rant, thank you. Give me grace. And I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to go into what I'm currently reading, which I didn't prepare. So I'm going to have to come back and talk about it. But thank you. So there you go. Thank you for being my therapist. It's me being vulnerable. Okay, let's talk about my current reads. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know why I wasn't prepared for this, but here we go. Now, as I've said before, I have a number of short story collections going. I call them my bathroom pile because they're in my bathroom. I am not including those in this except when I start a collection or finish a collection. I'm actually really close to finishing 2 of the collections, so you will see those probably next week. But besides that, I have 6 books that I am reading. Sorry, I had to scooch up there. The first one is still the Victober read, The Way We Live Now. I am getting close to being finished. I don't know if I'll finish it this week, but I'm getting close. Enjoying it. I wish I was reading it on my Kobo, because part of the reason why this is so slow is the print is so small, and my eye issues are just not having a good time with it. So I wish I was reading. Note to self, next Victober, whatever, when I get back and whenever I read Victorian works, which I'm doing in December again, don't go for this. Go for the ebook so you can adjust the font. And then I have, this is not included in my bathroom pile of short story collections, but that is Roman Stories by Jhumpa Lahiri. I have 2 stories left in this. And I love this collection. I just love Jhumpa Lahiri. I just love her. I think I have 1 book of hers, The Lowland, which I haven't read yet. And that's the only book of hers I haven't. No, one of her, like, let's talk about the Italian language and stuff book. Like, there's Whereabouts. I've read Whereabouts, but she had one before that, which is like, I guess it's English on one side and Italian on the other. I haven't read that one, but I love her writing. Her writing is so wonderful. I love Rome. She brings Rome to life. Amazing book. Highly, 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 highly recommend this one. And then my beloved Mortal Monarchs. This book is for nonfiction November, and it's for the display prompt. And my initial thought process behind that was when monarchs die, English monarchs is what we're talking about here. There's always an element of display. Remember when Queen Elizabeth died, there were the processions and everything was televised, which obviously was not the same for, say, William the Conqueror. But even before that, there were forms of display. For example, you go see their tomb and their sarcophagus, or sometimes they would just display their dead bodies. Very pleasant. But as I read this, I actually realize it's even a better fit than I thought, because Dr. Suzie Edge, and I know it says Suzie Edge here, but she is a doctor and she earned that, so we should call her Dr. Suzie Edge. She's a medical doctor, by the way, not a doctor of history, medical doctor. She talks about how the narratives of how these kings die is lots of times a display of what people thought of them in their lifetime. So you could have 2 monarchs who died of the same thing, but they were held in different regards by their people. So the stories of their deaths are going to be very different. The one that wasn't liked, you're going to get great detail of the bloody diarrhea. And the ones that they did like had a stomachache. And it was really the same thing. So, yeah. Where am I now? I'm on Henry IV. Another thing I have to tell you about that I just started watching. So when I was reading something, I think it was the first chapter. Oh yes, Henry V. I'm sorry. Henry VI is the next one because Roman numerals are hard. But the first line of the first sentence of the Henry V section said, "Whichever famous face comes to mind when you think of King Henry V, be it Olivier Branagh or Hiddleston, you will hear that lines from Henry Shakespeare's Henry V speeches more often than you might think." And I was like, Olivier Branagh, Hiddleston. So then I did a little research and I found, and this is like 10 years old. So I just found this. I'm sorry if everybody knows about it except me, but I just found it. The Hollow Crown. So The Hollow Crown was done by the BBC. For those of, I'm sure people in the UK know about this, but Americans, we don't. The Hollow Crown is a mini series, but it's actually, the first season is Richard II Henry IV, part 1, part 2, and then Henry V. There's 4 episodes. And it's just Shakespeare's plays. And big names. And I'm still watching I'm still watching Richard II. But in that, we've had Perrault and Picard and Fleur Delacour. So yeah. And the actor who plays, there's a lot of actors in it too that I recognize by face, but I might not know their names. Like all of the actors are like that. It is so amazingly well done. I have not, and I know I'm starting my Shakespeare project in 2024, so I will probably be rewatching this, which is good that I actually bought it instead of rented it. But I had never read Richard II. And so I'm watching Richard II, and I am like in awe of how gorgeous the language is. It helps that it's Patrick Stewart saying the language, of course. It's just beautiful. And then in Henry IV, part 1 and 2, Henry IV is Benedict Cumberbatch. And in Henry V, it's Tom Hiddleston. So I'm so excited. I've been watching that. My husband's like, why are you watching Shakespeare? And I'm like, shh. Things are happening. So yes, Mortal Monarchs. I'm sorry. Totally tangent there. But really loving this book. I have been saying this book isn't available in the US. I think it is going to actually be published in the US this month. I was looking somewhere and I thought I saw that later in November, this will be published in the US. So hold on. I got it from Blackwell's. It's probably cheaper getting it from Blackwell's. Just saying. And then I have 2 ebooks going, which I will... The first one is obviously not the ebook, In Cold Blood. I bought a copy so I could have it on my shelf. And looking at this, print in this, I'm glad I'm reading it on my ebook because it's small. I am really enjoying this book. I'm enjoying this book so much that I just got a bunch of more Truman Capote stuff because this is the first Truman Capote I've read. I'm not a true crime person, but this is an amazingly good book. I am completely sucked into it. Yeah, but I have 2 ebooks going because, as I mentioned last week, I realized I didn't want to read this book at night. So I started The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams because the next book, The Bookbinders, is the next Book Cougars read along. And I thought, well, I'm going to read the first one first. And it's a good book to read before bed because it's interesting, but it's not going to give me nightmares. It's not going to do that. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm going slower with it because the bulk of my reading on my Kobo is going to this. However, once I finish this book, I'm going to concentrate on the Dictionary of Lost Words. So I will definitely have this one finished by next week. And I might also have the Dictionary of Lost Words. And then on audio, I am still listening to Platonic, which I'm enjoying. It's fine. It's probably not going to be a 5-star book. It's probably might not even be a 4-star book for me, but it's good for nonfiction November because it just is. It was sitting in my Audible account. Oh, also perfect opportunity to say I hate the Audible app. I do. I just hate that app. And I hate the fact that I have to have Audible to get some of the books that I want. But it's there, and I thought, oh, this is an opportunity to read it. It fits the prompt for web. And it's interesting. I do have some quibbles with it, but I will get into that when I finish it. So that's this week. If you made it to the end, yay, whether or not you heard my therapy session in the middle of it. There you go. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me what you're reading now. And information for my Discord is down below. I would love for you to join. It's a lot easier to have conversations on Discord than it is in the YouTube comments section. It just is. It's just logistics. Anyway, thank you very much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.